So hello, everybody. Welcome to the meeting. I'm just going to take a moment to come into the right space. So I'm going to just do a few moments of gratitude that we are here, that we have each other, that we've got this technology that we can use to connect up with each other. Let's have some gratitude for this lovely day. It's really quite a nice day out there. Thank you for the vegetation looking so verdant at the moment, for the animals who seem to be connecting up so much and who are managing to connect to us and talk to us more than ever. Thank you for all the energy that's coming into the world and that a lot of us are feeling, some of us very powerfully. Let us accept that as let's accept the symptoms of sleeplessness and anything else that we might be getting at the moment as a good sign that we're up leveling. And thank you for our bodies, keeping us here, allowing us to have this physical experience, in this 3D realm, allowing our spirits to be here and create all over again. Okay, so we just say our own little gratitudes now to ourselves. And then come into the meeting. So, hello everybody. It's been quite a month. We've got a whole load of new things on the agenda and to discuss. I haven't managed to get into the physical with anybody because I just had stuff on this morning, so I couldn't actually drive anywhere. It's absolutely my intention that we start meeting physically, to actually, even if there's only one or two of us in the room, I think it's really important that we actually connect in the physical more than ever, on a practical level as well as anything else. I've noticed that this week, last couple of weeks, I've been struggling to receive a signal when I'm out and about. I often have absolutely nothing because my phone network has turned off the 3G. So on a purely practical level, I just think it's getting more and more important to meet in the physical, but I also think that's where the magic's going to be created, is by actual being in each other's energy fields, bouncing off each other, enhancing it. It's just going to augment us. And I think that's happening all the time. And it's not just with us. I think it's with the animals and the plants as well. It's all about getting in connection. So we have the meeting to discuss. So it's coming up. Things have taken a little bit of a turn towards looking at a constitution for the country and making that a focus of the meeting, and perhaps inviting other people to help us out with that. Because actually just establishing that, we are people, men, women, sovereign, and making this an indisputable part of an integral and an indisputable part of this land, and of us as a people. So I think that's something just a bit of a project, that's a sort of focus for the meeting, a focus for the gathering. That's probably the main thing at the moment. So William Keat has agreed to present on that, both in the Zoom world and at our meeting, and probably to help facilitate that. So does anyone have anything they would like to come in on that? Rachel, yes, Rachel's been very in on this too. So Rachel.
Hey Lynn, yeah, I won't hog the call, don't worry. It's just I'm speaking at the Freedom Fest on Saturday afternoon. It's a full house thanks to the Times hit piece. They've actually sold it out. And I'm speaking a sort of an hour and a half before David Icke. And my feeling was to really talk about the Love Party and the Love Movement, I should say, because we are really a movement now, not a party. And I would really love to talk about this People's Charter. And I'm calling it charter because Roger said about constitution being a bit of a loaded term. But I would really love to, in that talk, in that speech, because it really needs to be sound bites, and I would love to, for us to just formulate some really simple things, elements of that charter, For example, the right to have a bank account, the right for freedom of speech, the right to live without electromagnetic stress, things like this, the right to have access to land to grow organic vegetables with a local community. Simple things like this that could form the basis of a people's charter. Because to me, if we had a people's charter which was very simple, simple basic rights for the 21st century, the right to analog, the right to access analog, the right to opt out of digital, you know, in other words, but I'd prefer to put it in the positive of what we do want, not opting out of what we don't. You know, the right to have analog interaction, shall we say. So I feel it would be really good, even if I can just get like a dozen things as starting points, just to as tidbits to put out on Saturday afternoon, because it will be filmed and it will be a potential a point of inspiring people to stand as independent candidates for the love movement and this People's Charter, so that we can fill the Houses of Parliament with representatives of the people whose only manifesto is to uphold the People's Charter. That's kind of where I'm kind of coming from, feeling that would be a powerful strategy. So I just wanted to set the scene and invite suggestions.
Yeah, obviously there's room for individuality with people standing. They can campaign on anything they like, really, as long as it's aligned to us if we're supporting them. So yeah, the People's Charter is a nice basis. If other people have other things that they think complement that, then by all means go for it, because of local issues often dominate in your head, don't they? What's affecting you directly is often what you're most clued up with, and what you're most going to connect with. But yeah, I think we need to get back to where our communities are self-determining, where we are. I really think the self-sufficiency and energy independence and looking after each other at a very local level is coming. I can't see this not happening now. I really can't, especially and sort of the more idiocy that goes on, the more people close bank accounts and that sort of thing, the more we find our own strategies and bring it all back to the local and say, well, we'll sort ourselves out then. You know, we will form a cooperative for bank loans and whatever we need to do. So yeah, it's all starting, it's all getting there, and hopefully the need for elections will at some point go anyway. But at this point, it's about pattern interrupting and cushioning the fall of the establishment, making sure there's an alternatives in place. The more there's alternatives in place, the easier the transition will be. I think a lot of us, we know it's coming, and it's about helping. There's a lot of people who don't, and it's going to be a big shock. So it's about making it easy to transition from the top down to the grassroots up. Julie.
Yeah, with that, I think the emphasis.
Julie, you're muted. Can you just unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry, I thought I'd unmuted it. Yeah, the thing of keeping cash or some sort of exchange facility, that, you know, we might even set up our own cash system, because we did talk about that at one bit, and the emphasis on natural health care and complementary therapies, and accepting death is part of life, but also that we need quality of life during the dying process and with death and when grieving and with bereavement. You're now muted, Lynn.
Sorry. Yeah, compassionate, something we're having to deal with a lot at the minute. Well, I seem to be having to deal with a lot, is compassion towards the end of life, and you know, especially with animals, where because you're artificially supporting them, if you like, they wouldn't survive in the wild. You sort of have to make the final call sometimes. Compassionate death, compassionate life. I think that's really good.
And with that, could we also mention, now you've mentioned animals, about the withdrawal of all these sort of injections and antibiotics and stuff like that, that the animals
right of animals to have a chemical-free life, you know? Right of animals to live without having their bodies invaded. I don't see why animals can't live in a compassionate way. I know everything's got to live, and we've got to eat plants and animals, and you don't have to eat animals, but we've got to eat something. And I know there's people who argue that plants are conscious, and I believe that too, but we have to live. So it's got to be a much more mutual relationship of, I don't actually think plants and animals are unwilling to give themselves to us to live. I think they're actually willing to do that. But there's a deal to be had here, that we then treat them with respect and compassion throughout their life. As you know, my granddad used to say, and I think it had been passed down a long way, because they used to say in very somber terms and very old English, it was like, you know, you control the manner of the birth and the death, and in the between time you have the duty. So that was very much how it was passed down to me, that we have to take responsibility for them right up and including the point of their dying. So the other thing, Julie, there was the bank, the exchange, the means of exchange. I'm sort of thinking that do we dictate that, or do we let people choose their own means of exchange? I mean, cash is obviously very convenient, but in the end, currency is just.
We don't have to dictate, but we need to have options available.
What we choose to trade in is fine. Whatever we choose to trade in, whoever, you know, I don't think we should dictate that between individuals. Who, you know, if I want to buy things using eggs and someone else agrees to that, no problem.
Also, it can even be an exchange of time, because you know, an hour of my time should be equivalent to an hour of anybody else's time. Doesn't matter what they're trained in, qualified in, or whatever. We just give respectfully both ways, as long as we're both feeling comfortable with it. Yeah.
And while governments and councils exist, I'm sort of tempted to say they should accept tax in any form and deal with the exchange. We shouldn't be having to pay it in a certain way. I mean, I don't mind cash, actually, but obviously we think central digital currency is not that far away, and I don't want to be forced to pay in that, or forced to do anything in that. I don't want it in my house, but or in my possession. So I don't think that dictating that we have to pay by card, or we have to pay by central digital currency, or anything is something that government should be allowed to do. And I'd quite like to see governments having to convert a load of eggs into whatever the currency of the day is. I think that would be fun. Bit naughty. Anyway, so yeah, thanks, Julie. There's some good ones there. It's definitely some means of exchange, that is free, decentralized, and free. It's definitely something we can do. So, Brian, Mr. iPhone.
Yes, yeah, I live a simple life, don't I? Yes, I've got a past history, but I'm not the same man anymore, am I? I was just realising that today. All that past is gone. I'm a new man. The body changes every 7 years, so I'm sort of born again, aren't I? Oh, yes. Yes, there's some really clever people out there doing some amazing, clever stuff. Yes, you are, aren't you? You're amazing. And there's a small group here, isn't there? Yes, is this the war room? Well, these CEOs and entrepreneurials and these politicians have a sort of treat things as a war room, do they not? Because it is the centre of business, the business plan and the goal. And when you write one of them out, you have different sections in it. Rachel sort of knows about business plans, setting goals, structuring. Yes, you sort of need team leaders. It needs to be a team effort, doesn't it? And
Yeah,
that's what you're doing here, and that's amazing. And you're right, just small groups can do amazing stuff if they come together and stay focused. So I love what you're doing up there. Well done, Rachel, for the freedom movement thing, the hope thing. Now, I'm not sure. It's more local to me. But yes, I've been following that stuff. That is amazing. And I guess the truth sets us free. I am empowered because I am sovereign and I have no fear. And I'm under the law of one, aren't I? I don't know how you can put that into words or into a structure, into a constitution. Some clever people have constitutions, don't they?
I would just say, you know,
America has a constitution.
We are sovereign. All people, every man and woman is sovereign.
Yes, even the Americans. Well, China, are they communists now or what? Well, I'm not sure anymore. I'm not sure what we are. Are we socialist or communist or white superiorist or what? I'm not sure. Nobody seems to be focused anymore. Even, well, the church has always been, a dark pope. So, yes, but people seem to come together in the square, don't they, under the angel. It unites us all because we are all spiritual at the end of the day, because we all drink from the cup. Some of us have even good manners and are house trained. But yes, all our borders are open at the moment, aren't they? And there's fiat money now. They took us off the gold reserve, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yes. Yes, she was talking about the money, wasn't she? Yeah. Yes, it's amazing what some of these clever people are doing with this digital stuff. I've been spending too much time on this computer. I'm sort of old school. I should be doing the physical stuff myself, isn't it, really? But I've post-traumatic stress disorder, the way I've been treated. Yes, I am not a victim. I'm rabbiting, aren't I? Does that make any sense to you about our constitution? I mean, there's already constitutions out there, isn't it? We had the Magna Carta and we thought that was our constitution. But apparently it has been so corrupted and it is so old that, yes, there are rights and bills. And that's sort of what you're talking about there, isn't it? What are our rights and what are our bills? I've got health and safety issues as well, isn't it? Like, it seems to me that Homer Simpson seems to be in charge of people's health and safety. Yes, you mentioned magnetic radiation, didn't you? You mentioned it yourself. I didn't even have to mention it. I've been talking about it for 3 years, and they locked everybody down. With,
Cheers, Brian. I'm going to have to move on to Simon. But I think what you're saying for the Constitution is pretty much. I think we actually do just put a statement, probably right at the top, that we are sovereign beings, free and equal. So if I can just go to Simon now for a bit. If you can you just write down anything you're thinking, Brian, and put it in at the end? I'm thinking
about what's going to unite, because there's a sort of movement going on in the background, isn't there? But you want to stand for your own local councils. I should be back here, shouldn't I?
I think for everybody, not everyone's prepared to stand who's in the party, but the ones that are, we're prepared to do it because, you know,
you're unlimited. You're amazing.
To pass and interrupt and to stop.
An amazing energy. You're making so much sense.
Thank you. So we're trying to make, those of us who are prepared to do it are basically, yes, we'd all probably rather their own little garden and all the rest of it, but we are pattern interrupting so that we can create an easier transition when this up leveling of humanity happens and the top down stuff is dissolved, which I do believe we can.
Yes, you seem to be awake. You're DNA awake, aren't you?
Yeah. Anyway, can I have Simon, Brian, because we're just otherwise we're going to run out of time. If you can write anything down and put it in the chat as well, as because there's some good points that that are coming up. Simon.
Yeah, I just want to comment on what Rachel was saying about her talk on Saturday. You referred quite a few times, Rachel, to rights. I think it's really important to differentiate between rights and specifically inalienable rights. I read a really good article just the other day by Ian Davis, who's a prolific writer, talking about the way that the system can say that human rights can be compromised under certain circumstances, whereas inalienable rights are not transferable and are impossible to take away by anybody else. That's the key. There are certain things that they simply cannot foist upon us, no matter what they think the value of it is to it in their minds. So I think that's really key to this charter. You know, our inalienable rights, God-given, given to everybody. The other thing is I'm quite well advanced on the alternative currency.
Oh, what's that? What's that, Simon? Just hold it up again. Push it. Can you push it towards the camera?
Every time we spend money, we're casting a vote for the kind of world we want.
Okay. And where can you
It's not ready yet, but I'll let you know when it works.
It's brilliant. I think I'd love to see that. But
Okay.
basically it can work. Money works when any money works when you agree the exchange of it, doesn't it?
Well, the end game is a commons-based economy where the currency is underwritten by community-owned assets. So
Okay.
not gold. Gold is just another asset that is all about hoarding. But if you've got a currency underwritten by things that are of value to the community, then it's a real currency, about a medium of exchange rather than a store of value. That's the problem with money. It's got so many uses that are in conflict. A unit of exchange to store of value are not complementary, because if you've got people that got too much money, then they hoard it, which takes money out of circulation, which is a detriment to people who are really struggling. And the third thing I want to say from a marketing perspective, I really think we should be fast forwarding raising this £325,000 to fund a deposit for a person in every constituency, because I think that will really get attention. You know, this organisation has raised this money. That alone cannot be ignored. So the sooner we get on with that, the better, I feel.
Yeah, that's having a bank account that is able to take those sort of donations, isn't it?
Well, we can put it anywhere. If we say it's raised and, you know, people are holding it that are trustworthy, then it's raised, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
It's raising it and allocating it and putting it somewhere that it's important.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, the inalienable rights. I think it's really, really important that we have to make the point that we do not take people's rights away for the greater good. I think that should strike fear into all our hearts when we hear that phrase. Well, not fear, because we're not fear-based, but it should chill us a little bit. And it certainly did me when I heard it, when COVID was all that farce was kicking off. So my view is that if a society requires individuals to sacrifice themselves or their rights for the society, that society is not fit for purpose, because society should be there to enhance the individual. Okay, it's not up to individual to enhance the society. The society is there to enable individuals to reach more than their own potential on their own. It's there to, you know, otherwise there's no point in society. You might as well be on your own, doing your own thing. If you're not being enhanced by being together, then it's not working. So yeah, at the moment we're being told we've got to give up things or do this or do that for the sake of society. No, society's there to serve us, not the other way around, is my view. And I think we should make that clear in the Constitution. And you're right about the money. That would make a big difference. We could I spoke to James Freeman just the other week, and it was one of the first things he asked. He's like, how on earth will you raise that money? I was just like, you know, we can do it. It's not that much per person. And that's the sort of thinking that we're going to come up against all the time. Is like, how is it you're going to do this? It's a very nice idea. How? And we're a lot of us are into sort of energy work and living above the 3D. And we're saying, well, we create the space for it to come to us. We lift our energy, we call it in, we, you know, group manifest, we hold the intention, we do all the things that raise the energy, and we get rid of those 3D limitations, because there is so much abundance out there. I know Rachel keeps saying this, there's so much abundance. There's so much abundance out there, and in here. But we're always trained to look at this sort of figure in a bank balance or something like that, which you know, lots of things, they don't have to come in the form of a figure in a bank balance. It can come in so many different ways, and so I think we can definitely get enough resources together one way or another. Anyway, who have I got now? Joanne. I need to unmute. You need to unmute.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Lovely. Yes.
I mean, yeah, everything you've all said, yeah, unbelievable. It's true. The main thing I was just going to say quickly is about water. I know it might seem a bit that, you know, we need good, clean water. I think we have a well at the bottom, well, in our garden. It's a small little courtyard. And I'm tempted, if anything happens, to just dig and get a well, but it won't be that simple.
Oh, you're not the only one. I'm also looking at boreholes and things right now.
There is a one near me in Plorhatch, and that's in East Grinstead, and it's a place you get spring water. And I'm not kidding you, I have been drinking that spring water, and it's much, I feel my hair's better, and I seriously do feel a lot better. And I think, I know I'm going on a bit, but that is something really important, proper clean water, which we don't get, and our tap water is vile. So I mean, that's just something we could always, it's in the back burner. And of course, good clean food, yeah, and natural.
So I think that's actually really important, that we have access to living water. I'm going to call it living water.
Yeah.
Flowing.
Not
it's
dead.
Water, yeah, it's water that's flowing. It's because apparently, and this is something I recently found, is that moving water donates electrons, whereas still water
you know what,
takes it, and takes them from you. So something like that anyway. So we need we have access to, I'm going to call it living water, which is water that's not been sterilized, not been sat in pipes, been not that's not got fluoride in and all the rest of it. So,
there's something like hydrogenated water as well. They're selling people and different things.
I know, smart water in this.
I don't know. This is hydrogenated. This is a bit different. I don't know. Smart water's got lots of chemicals in, I believe. It was analysed. Exactly. But this hydrogenated, you get a special, it's quite expensive, and I'm not sure, but it's dead water with the Berkey. It's better than chemical crap in this tap, but it's still dead water, isn't it? And so all the spring water, and I get some from Malaysia, and I get it delivered, and that's really good, because I spoke to the person and they've actually checked it. It's pure, really wonderful water from Malaysia, and it's got silica, and that helps get rid of aluminium out of us. And anyway, there's so much with water. I think water's like a huge issue, but that's my opinion.
It makes up about
80% we are.
Bodies, it's absolutely a huge issue. We need it, and it's I think it's becoming obvious that this there's actually quite a lot of, Rachel always says this, that there's an infinite amount of water. It's always there. That spring that you go to has been there forever. Not forever, but you know what I mean. It's this eternal supply. And if we can just think about the whole world as being like that, this eternal supply of food and water and whatever we need, everything we need is supplied to us. And because we are trained to think of it as being limited, there's only so much around, and it's not.
Scarcity. I mean, that was the old Marx thing, scarcity resort scarcity, but they sort of promoting it, if you like, for the political purposes, and it's all rubbish. And that's just the three things I was going to say: food, water, food, health. All goes together, and that's my kind of thing I'm thinking a lot more of than most.
The right to thrive. I always like the right to thrive.
And we have to, we inherited, I mean, we have, it's our inalienable right to have good food, good clean water, and therefore when we'd have the reasonably good health, and we wouldn't have all these diseases, that's my opinion anyway. There's the three things I really am quite.
No, you're right. I totally get it. I'd love to see that you come alive when you're talking about it as well. And it's, but you're right. These are totally gone, like the air, the water, the earth.
The air, yes, of course. And then of course all the technology rubbish that were thrown at us. That's probably a crime against us that, some good environmental lawyer would be able to, but where are these good environment? Where are they?
Where are these people? You know, this idea of people, of there not being enough food to go around is, it drives me a little bit mad. But there we go. That's the training we've received, and we've just got, you know, we're coming out of it now, and maintenance is coming down, and hopefully we'll soon see the end of all that sort of thing.
Unprogramming.
Unprogramming.
Deprogram, or whatever.
I think when we're deprogrammed, when people are deprogrammed, they will, things like lack of food, lack of water and things, those things are just going to disappear. That's just not going to be there anymore. We're just going to see it's all there anyway. It was all there for us all the time.
like the Garden of Eden. I mean, I just look at everything, you know, everything interests me. And the Garden of Eden, yeah, we're eating foods from the stupid tree of knowledge, which is probably all crap. Anyway, thank you for letting me.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Joanne. Rachel, can I have your hand was up next?
So just to say, Lynn, I am making a little list of notes of all of these rights, and it would be good at the end of the call just to read them out, which may take a couple of minutes. But just for now, I just wanted to respond to what Simon said about this fundraising, because I've been really tuning into that. And I've also been looking at Marianne Williamson, because she's doing her presidential campaign and she's right on it right now for 2024. And my personal feeling is that everything should be devolved locally, so that if people are going to stand locally, it's, to me, that shouldn't be dependent on a central payout of money to do it. We should be encouraging everyone to fundraise, because between now and the next general election, it's not just the £500 to stand, it's also the cost of doing the leaflet drop, which is probably £2,000 or £3,000, depending on the size of your constituency. So getting local people into the habit of fundraising so that they can finance their campaign and everything that goes with it. Personally, I think rather than trying to centralize that, I'm not saying we can't have a central pot of money, but the thing is mentally, if it's kind of like, well, we've got to get to 350,000 before we can get all the candidates. To me, it's much better for people just to start now, and to start, because I'm really thinking about my own local campaign. I'm so determined, having had this police thing come through. I'm so angry and determined. But it's kind of like the campaigning needs to be now, and it needs to start now, not like 4 weeks before the next general election. So this thing about inspiring people to think, yeah, I'm going to do it, and inspiring people to bring together their local communities, to get that fundraising going, so that can be building up. I mean, imagine if you were having a community meeting every week or every month and just passing the hat around and every week gathering, 50 quid. Like in 10 months' time, that's your £500, just straight off the bat. So my sense is to decentralize everything. That's where instinctively I'm feeling.
So I think that's a good thing to lead by example as well, is that we do want the communities looking after themselves and providing for themselves. So coming in with a top-down instructions and pot is probably not the right example to be setting. So yes, we need to start now. That would be brilliant, because the more we actually fundraise now, I wouldn't even call it fundraising, but yeah, like pass around the hat, the more we are already in the psyche of the local community. I think there's stuff we can start doing as well, from just, I keep saying, I'm sure that just arranging little groups, really nothing big, just some sort of exercise group, a dog walking group, an explore footpath or a footpaths group, anything that just gets people together, anything, a save your pub group, who's interested in brewing group, I don't know, anything that you feel like you've got an expertise in, or not even an expertise, but an interest that you could bring just 3 or 4 people even. These are the seeds that grow and start connecting up and joining the dots together. And it's also a way, rather than doing the whole, oh, we're a group that's anti-vax and we're anti this and we're bring down the cabal and all that. It's connecting into those people who haven't quite got to the very awake stage. They still know they want good, clean food. They still know they want to be fit and walking the dogs, and they want to feel good. You know, they might never need to know. They might never, ever, ever need to know about this crap that's been going on. Or it might be just enough to just be connected to other people and to be able to live their best life. That might be all they ever need to know. So yeah, I think if anything we can do to connect locally is fantastic. So I've got Scarecrow Weekend coming up in September. That will be probably my little bit for a while. It's a little group of people who just get a village event together. So we'll just have a lot of fun with that. And hopefully it gets people into the church, it gets people into the village hall, and they see what's in their community now, see what's there now. The pub the landlords are moving on from there, and that gives us another opportunity to, I love them and I wish they were staying, but they aren't. So the next best thing is that we see that this is an asset that the village has, and we can make this something that really works for us. We can make it a little bakery, or make it somewhere where we can exchange veg and things like that. Maybe we can just look around in our communities and see how we can make them work, get them starting to function and joining people up, not necessarily ones who are on our wavelength or ones that are determined to bring down the government or anything like that, just connecting people, because that's where it starts. So yeah, sorry, Carrie's an expert at this already. So with Loveland, you need to unmute, Carrie. I can't hear you. I think we've had this with you before, haven't we?
You don't hear me?
Oh, there you are. Got you. Yep.
No. Okay. Hi everyone. First of all, very quickly, I'm really sorry, Rachel, that you had that ridiculous letter, and it incensed me as well, but it's kind of typical of what the big boys do, isn't it? Well, we can always circumnavigate that and find other ways, which is we're doing. I have joined the People's Assembly. They have got a meeting. I've just seen an email came in today. I haven't looked at it. I think it's the 29th of July. They've got a big meeting, and they're trying to start up a group in Truro. So I just thought it's a way of networking, if that's okay, because they're a good, peaceful organisation, and John Gilbert lives in Cornwall. The other thing I wanted to say was, you did say that there were other Love Party people in Cornwall, I think, but
I haven't said anything, have we?
If they could give me their emails, or you could give them my email and they could get in touch, because I'd really like to link up with other people, because sometimes I feel a bit sort of isolated in that respect. And the other thing is, amazingly, I started up a little theatre group on Park Home where we live, and the 5 ladies that joined the group, we're now doing a play, all know things are not right. I mean, they're not as far down the path as we are, but they know, you know, because of COVID and everything, and we've got into conversation about it, which is quite amazing, really, that I've kind of, these 5 people that come forward are all like-minded. So I think it was meant to be. So there's kind of networking possibilities there as well to promote the Love Party, and it sometimes helps even at Loveland, because people know me and they know that my motives are good. Then, you know, it all kind of ties in with well, you know, knowing that you're a sincere person. So I'm just doing my best. Hopefully it's all good stuff, and it will all kind of what's the word, bear fruit, because wherever I go, I always plant little seeds, and it's surprising how they do germinate quite well. Not just the literal seeds at Loveland, but all sorts of little thoughts. And also Joan mentioned about water. Well, I just saw, I think it was a Richard Boat podcast. A chap was saying that we have massive groundwater, fresh groundwater,
Yes.
just enough forever.
An ocean.
Yeah.
Ocean under the
Exactly.
Yeah, we need evidence for this sort of stuff, but yeah, I
Yes.
heard that
But
myself.
obviously they want to keep it for themselves, and I'm also finding ways of making sure that, you know, checking out where food comes from and getting people aware of the fact that supermarket food and processed food with sort of nil nourishment might also contain other things that are not listed, that are not good, not at all good for us, and that is only going to increase. And I've also hoping to do some little music videos. I didn't get a good response from Loveland because lots of the students that I asked were doing exams and now they've gone home. So I've broadened out into other areas and got some enthusiasm, and I've written 2 others, and one of them is about where our food comes from, and that I'm hoping to get a group of children saying that we want fresh food, because children quite often sort of link into people's deeper emotions. You know, this is what our children and grandchildren want. I don't know, I might just be burbling, I don't know.
No, it's great. It's all great stuff.
So, you know, I just want you to know that I am working towards, you know, the ultimate goal, and I do understand many levels that it works at. And the other thing, I don't know whether this is true or not, because I haven't researched it thoroughly, but apparently even the bad guys are worried about their karma.
Ooh.
So that's interesting in a way, that when they do things, they can't actually do things directly to us in a sense, but they can get other parties brainwashed into doing it to us.
Yes, they don't like their hands dirty.
Yes.
Yes.
So that might be the reason why. So I thought that was quite a good sort of bit of knowledge as a weapon, that they themselves, you know, if they're seen to be directly harming us, then that's to their detriment.
Yeah, that's why they like us to do things to ourselves.
Yes.
You know, why they like us to sort of call for these, you know, these things.
Yeah.
That you know, oh, we must. I mean, recently we've got the child trafficking thing, haven't we? And we will soon have people baying for microchipping. That's what they want us to do, is to impose the solutions on ourselves. Oh, there should be a law, there should be more restriction, there should, you know, it should be banned. That's and they're very good at getting us to do things to ourselves. Very, very manipulative. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think, like you say, it is because they do not want it on their own hands. They think that there's a distance between what's done and, oh, it wasn't us doing it. A bit like, you know, that the Nazis were very good at it as well. When they had the concentration camps, there was one person who led them to the chambers, another person who pressed that switch, another person who took away the bodies. None of them actually did it. Nobody actually did it. So everyone was able to sort of carry on. And that's
possibly
very much that mentality.
Yeah, that's possibly the reason why. So you know, if they're worried about their karma, then they've got an Achilles heel.
They do. Yeah.
So I just thought I'd drop that one in and see where it goes and what we can find out about it.
Yeah.
If possible. I am sort of limited in some of the things I can do. I mean, not just because I'm an old granny, but because my husband has cancer. It's incurable, and you know, he has good days and bad days, so I have to kind of go with the flow. But you know, we live our lives to the full. We do things now, what we want to do. You know, we go out and we enjoy things, which is what it's all about, really. So I kind of try and balance and work things around, you know, whatever's going on. Okay. So just, you know, I don't want you to think that I'm
Lovely, thank you, Carrie.
that I'm slacking in any way.
No, not at all. I think, you know, you do loads. I know you do. So sorry, Scarecrow weekend. There was a question. Basically, the village makes scarecrows. Thank you. Makes scarecrows, and we put them out in our garden. And other people, lots of people come into the village to see them. They're quite fancy scarecrows. It started off because of another government. I'm just going to stop swearing. Another government thing. I can't not swear. The foot and mouth thing, which was a absolute shit show for around here because we're a dairy farming village, and we stopped all village events because we didn't want people they didn't want any spread of this foot and mouth, which we now know was just ridiculous anyway. But at the time it stopped all the village functions, and we thought they would never get going again. But we decided to do something that everyone could do no matter what, and we decided everybody could make a scarecrow. It's really that basic. You just get your junk and you put it together, and we put them in the gardens. Well, people came up with the most amazing creations, and so we've done it every year since. And we originally, the idea was that we had a program, and people read on the program what each scarecrow was, but as it's this village, nobody got round to thinking about scarecrow until about the night before. So we didn't have a program. So what we did was we gave out the sheets, blank sheets with just numbers, and got people to guess what they were. And that's what we've done ever since, a Guess the Scarecrow competition, which is really quite a big part of the weekend. So last year was, what was last year? Oh, it was royalty. We did royalty, and we did the Prince of Wales out on my garden. And so I had a great big whale with big ears and a crown. Massive whale in front of my house. Happened to be the weekend the Queen died, so a little bit of a faux pas from some people's point of view, but I liked it. And it's just a great big whale facing out onto the road, and it was brilliant. And it was made out of a bit of scaffolding, some wire and straw, literally sellotaped onto it, and that's what we do. And it's become quite a big weekend. We have a little fair, we have it's a very busy weekend for us. Lots of you know, everybody doing their little bit. Car park, I'll be doing car parking, I'll be in the church, I'll be out here, I'll be carrying chairs around. It's just a nice village weekend that has taken root. And so that's something that I will be doing, and I'm doing now. We're getting ready for it now, though my scarecrow won't be done till the night before. I've no idea what it's going to be. So that's what it is, and it's quite an easy thing to do, actually, quite an easy thing to organize if you just have to make people see how very, very easy it is, you know. Okay, so there was something else I needed to tell people. That I had a call from the ADF, and they've seen that we're not registering with the Electoral Commission, and they just asked me to extend the invitation for anyone who does want to stand under a party banner. This doesn't mean that you doesn't mean you leave the Love Party and join them at all. They just said that they would not charge a fee if you wanted to join them for the election to stand as a party, and that's just an offer that I extend to you. They're a friendly bunch. They tend to focus on the problems, not the solutions. Don't really get the energy work, but they are very, very awake, very into local government as well, as in bringing things down. Probably not to the extent that I am, as in, but they do get that we're all sovereign, that we're all self-determining, and that we have the right to thrive, and all the things that we believe too. So I'll just put that out there for anybody who wants a registered political party to stand under. That's offers there for them, and we would back you, of course, you know, as well. So you wouldn't be leaving us or anything like that. Just some people are more secure under a party banner, and vice versa. Actually, they have the odd person who doesn't want anything to do with us, and they'll send them our way.
Well,
Hi, Jo. Sorry,
sorry, I'm a bit confused. So you could join another party and.
Oh, you can belong to as many parties as you like.
Which one though?
ADF. It's called Alliance for Democracy and Freedom.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay.
Yeah, ADF. They've been they're sort of fellow freedom fighters for a long time. They tried to team up with Freedom Alliance, who bottled it at the last minute.
That's interesting. Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just an offer that's there from them. They just asked me to put that offer to anyone who wants to stand under a party banner.
Oh, that'd be useful. It'd be quite easy to merge in that way, you know, kind of gently come into.
I don't know, really. There's sort of a different direction to us. I think we're looking at themselves more as doers rather. They're very much just about standing for elections. I think
so. It wouldn't be a kind of.
They are. I would just say that the people involved are very good, very, very good people. They are quite. I wouldn't say that they're. I'm not sure about how their vision of us as self-determining individuals and having the vision of no government, I don't think is there with them.
Would it not be a stepping stone? It wouldn't be a stepping stone, maybe. Kind of. Not,
it's something to explore, but at the moment, I think we just do our own thing and see if there's if in our local communities there's a candidate and we can work with them. I think that's absolutely fine. But they just made that offer and asked me to pass it on to you. And but they are. I can say that they're very good people. I'm not sure they have the same zero government. Well, they don't have quite the same zero government. I think they probably think that's very impractical. But as Simon said once, that if we aim for zero, then we might at some point hit a sweet spot and decide actually that's a really good level. When we can all work together and there's somebody doing the admin and the bits that we don't want to do, and the rest of the stuff we do ourselves. So there might be a sweet spot as we dissolve government and bring it down. As you strip it back, there might come a point where it's actually quite good to have this level. This is working really well, and people are self-determining, and the government's carrying out the crap nobody wants to do. That might happen. I don't know, but I don't think they don't. I wouldn't say they shared that vision, but they do certainly see the need for getting power back to the people and away from Westminster. And they're very, very, very awake. So yeah. Okay, I'm having to move actually because I've got a charging. My phone's going to. My computer's going to die very soon. Rachel, can you just take host while I sort my computer out?
Yeah, Brian, do you want to talk?
Yes, okay, Rachel. I'd love to talk to you. Yeah, I could talk to whoever with you, isn't it? Yes. So yes, you have your local projects going on, and I should be doing mine. But yes, I'm just sort of. Yes, I've got to do my own project, haven't I? Here. Yes, and there doesn't seem to be many projects here at the moment that I can get involved with. So it's a call to action, and people need help to raise money. Yes, I was going to talk about leader. Yes, she almost touched on the subject there. You sort of need a leader, really, don't you? So for the political side of things, that doesn't necessarily have to mess with the movement, does it? Because your awakened movement, the Enlightenment, you are sovereign. There are already laws under the law of one, because you understand the law of one, because you're a quantum sort of science being, enlightened in the sense that you realise that you are spiritual. A lot of them people out there have forgotten, haven't they? So it is quite hard work. But they do, at the back of their hearts, think they are sovereign, didn't they? They think their money is backed by gold. I know we've been telling them that it is backed by fiat money and it's worthless, and this Bitcoin is all worthless as well because it's not backed by any assets or any gold or anything. It is just backed by hearsay. So finance is quite important. So that's what I sort of coming back to remembering to talk about. What the lady was saying was really quite important, I think, for this raising of the money, because they can just shut bank accounts down. I've been properly mistreated over the years here. Yes, I go on about it, I'm not a victim, but to wake up to the fact that they can just shut you down willy-nilly, and that it is a local thing.
Yeah.
So
that's why we need a right. So, you know, the right to a bank account. So that can't happen.
yes, but you need to be backed by a different. The fiat money is not working. It's bankrupt. The system at the moment is bankrupt. I know there's money there in the background, but don't. Yes, you could go on about the sovereignty and the birth certificate, isn't it? Yes, there's money there in the background, and they've been trading under our names with this capital letter stuff, and we're all really worth millions of pounds. And St. Jeremiah's got a stash somewhere of gold that he wants to share with everybody. But
I think the thing is, Brian, that, you know, we all know what the problem is. So this is the thing now. Okay, we know what the problem is. We know it's a shit show. We know it's a false matrix. We know everyone's under the spell, the majority of people. The question is, how are we going to co-create a new solution? So Lynn wants, Julie's got to go. We're coming up to 1 o'clock, Brian. So let's go back to Lynn now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yes, I think, you know, just coming back to the bank account thing, I think it's probably time that we, again, went back to the communities and started doing our own financing and coming up with our own arrangements for helping each other out, and storing our savings and all the rest of that sort of thing. But a right to a bank account is something we could have if we're going to keep the financial system, certainly for now.
Yes, don't you want insurance as well? Don't you want to be insured? What about the debt? Don't you want to be able to be buried in it nicely? And your insurance worth something.
I'm not bothered about being buried, actually. I keep saying the compost heap will do me. Might as well go.
Yes,
good.
like being, isn't it? But yes, these are why they go and do their poppy thing and take an oath, isn't it? All these people that you are saying are not, yes, are following Simple Simon and his thing. Yes, but at the back of their minds, I was saying that they think their money is backed by gold, really. So it's just a case of getting back to where they think they're already at, isn't it? But it is being taken away from them because there is no accountability. So that's why I'm saying about a leader and getting back to accountability. Yeah. But that's amazing. Yes, the business plan and making the money and backing yourself is amazing. I'm off now. So no, I'm not off. I've shut up.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah. So the money system is going to be one that a biggie for us, because it's one that's so entrenched. It's going to be quite difficult to see. Well, it's very difficult for a lot of people to see how you can operate outside of that system. But it's all doable. It's all been done before. We don't have to reinvent anything. It's all good. So I think that's it's kind of, like I say, it's 1 o'clock. So we'll stop. If it's okay with everyone else, we can stop the recording now, perhaps have a few minutes just to see how we're going. It's the constitution or the charter is the priority. Rachel, did you want to just read those back to us?
I could read this out because I think it might be quite useful.
Do that then.
But before I do that, I just wanted to address what Joanne said and about the ADF. And I get that is an offer to kind of catch anyone who wants to stand for a party. But just to reiterate, the strategy of not standing as a political party is actually, the more I think about it, a really strong one, because we're going after the 60% of lost electorate of people who have given up on politics. And I believe that is, if we can capture the imagination of that 60% of lost electorate, we could win the next general election. We really could. because it doesn't actually take that many people to get elected. If you look at the numbers of the maybe 30% of the 40% who do vote, that's only 12% of the electorate. So you only have to switch on, 25% of the lost electorate, and you've won the election. It's quite incredible when you look at the numbers. I've got a mathematical brain, so I got, oh my God, there's a real opportunity. We could win the next general election with this strategy. We really could.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, we definitely could. Like you say, there's
especially with a split vote.
The 60% that's the majority. Apathy has won the last God knows how many elections.
Exactly, because if you think that the 30 to 40% that do vote next time, it's going to be a very split vote. And therefore, a strategy which turns on the lost electorate actually has the potential to completely transform everything. It's quite incredible.
Yeah, it does. So would you like to read those?
I will. It might take 3 minutes, and if anyone wants to pop off, that's fine, because I'm conscious we're after 1, and at least this gets recorded.
We're recording it, so you'll be able to see them anyway. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to, this is what I've scribbled down, and I also put the question out on Monday at the People Speak Out. So I've been gathering, and this includes my thoughts as well as what's been discussed. And obviously this isn't complete. This is just a summary of everything to date for discussion purposes. So the People's Charter of Inalienable Rights for the 21st Century. 1. The right to giving birth naturally. 2. The right to natural life and to thrive. 3. The right to natural death. 4. The right to freedom of speech. 5. The right to privacy. The right to be made aware if psychological manipulation techniques are being used on us. The right to analog living. The right to trade without taxation. The right to home educate our children. The right to breathe fresh air. The right to natural living water. The right to natural light, the right to free energy, the right for communities to come together to grow their own vegetables on local land, the right to live without electromagnetic stress, the right to bodily autonomy, the right to holistic remedies and the right to holistic remedies, complementary therapies and natural healing, the right to uncontaminated blood transfusions, the right to use cash or any other currency, the right to have a bank account, the right to be treated as innocent until proved guilty, the right to remain silent, the right to a trial by jury, the right, if convicted, to trauma healing and rehabilitation, the right to spiritual freedom, the right to live in peace, the right for animals to live a natural life.
Right for animals to live a natural life. Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously the wording's up for grabs, but I put that in because you mentioned it.
The thing is, a lot of the animals, you could argue, are not natural. They are artificially created breeds, or they've selectively been bred for certain things. I mean, the little chick I had earlier this week, it's a breed that's too heavy really for its. So a wild chicken, the birds they derive from, would be able to manage on one leg because it would be light.
Well, okay, so if this
like that, what do we do? Where do we draw the line?
So let's just, this is the People's Charter of Inalienable Rights, so maybe we should just leave the animals out of it.
I think just compassion. Animals have the right to be treated with compassion.
Yeah, so that would be the Animals Charter of Inalienable Rights. So maybe let's just keep this to the People's Charter for now, because to me, if we were to implement that charter, or at least to kind of put that idea of those rights out, then naturally would flow from that, okay, I'm going to treat my animals with a similar respect.
I honestly think we put animals in, partly because there's a lot, it immediately grabs someone like me if someone's going, oh, they care about animals. So there's just the marketing point of view, but also I do think we should just say animals have the right to compassion. we treat all animals with compassion, birth, life and death. And it's just, we just have a compassionate, any animal. So no vivisection, no, no locking them in cages.
But a rat.
Sorry?
So I'm not live, am I?
You're on. So yeah, it's I say not keeping them in cages. Mine are running around in cages as they are.
I forgot I was live.
Yeah.
Not chipping animals? Well, they're chipped already, aren't they?
Well, they shouldn't. I don't like
They
that
shouldn't be,
either.
should they? No,
I don't like it.
I think it's dangerous or something, isn't it? I'm sure if it
I think so.
just treat animals, shouldn't we say just the animals should
At
be
the very least, you're going to get a local spot that's vulnerable to tumour and stuff,
Yeah.
aren't you? You just you've got a spot that's vulnerable if you've chipped them. But
just to let animals live naturally. How did
So-
you say that? Naturally, or just with kind of not interference from antibiotics and all the rest of it?
Animals have the right to compassion and respect.
yeah,
And live naturally, live as they should.
I mean, you could bring it down right to the basic. The one simple rule is respect all life, isn't it?
Mm.
You
What about movement? Sorry, Rachel, did you say freedom of movement? You probably did. You must have done.
No, I haven't even touched upon that. Thank you.
Well
Oh.
done. That's a good one. That's really good.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought you must, but maybe I missed it. But yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
that
that's
covers
perfect.
like
It's just in my head because I see my daughter. I have to travel to my children, so it's always in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's a brilliant one.
Right.
It's brilliant because I mean that covers just being able to go for a walk in fields. Maybe we need.
Rambling,
I
yeah.
definitely think we need more greenways or
Mm.
more accessible green places, fields and things. Because there's a lot of keep off my land, isn't there? I sort of think the default position should probably be that land is accessible, unless it's designated as private for some particular reason. I mean, gardens, I don't think most people like keeping their garden, but there's a whole lot of land that there is no reason why people shouldn't have access to it. No reason at all. It's just that somebody owns it, if you can, if it's even possible to own land, really. But yeah, so a right to roam, maybe some sort of right to roam. Certainly a right to travel around the country using the public highways. And I'd like to say the right to travel abroad, but of course it's hard to impose that on other countries. So yeah. Okay, good. That's a nice start, I think. Perhaps if we have them in the Telegram group. And
I will I'll type them up and and then they can be a starting point. But I do feel that if we were to create, if we create a people's charter, it's a very powerful. It's almost like a manifesto. It's replacing a manifesto because it's based on people's rights.
That's what I was thinking. Yes, that is the manifesto you're talking about, really.
yeah, keep it simple as well.
It's something totally. We've got the Commonwealth, or we're supposed to be have a Commonwealth, but it is taken away from us. But you haven't seemed to notice that have got constitutions. The Australians and the Canadians. There seems to be a guy Trudeau who's a sort of communist over there. So I think Canada is sort of communist now, so they haven't got a constitution, have they?
I think, as Roger was pointing out, Roger's done a lot of investigation on this, that our constitution is unwritten, and also the constitution is like a legal document, and it's not the same as a people's charter. So Roger's the expert, but I don't think he's on this call today.
Animal rights, don't they? Who gives them these rights? Who gives animals rights?
God gives us our rights. So, but it's just clarifying what our rights are, because it's an unwritten constitution.
They're spiritual, aren't they? They have inalienable rights because they are sort of sovereign, which we are, aren't we? You could argue the facts, but especially in the past, that I'm a bit of an animal myself.
Okay. Is this a
and I have rights?
Brian, can I just stop you a sec? Okay, Rachel, are we complete on the charter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can we take the recording off then? And if we want to stay for a couple of minutes discussion at the end, that's fine. But I think we've now got to the point where we don't need any more for people to view at home.
Cool. Okay.
Lovely. Okay, thanks everybody. And if you want to stay and chat, that's lovely. And otherwise, bye-bye. Okay, so we're